Ghost stories. Ooh. Stories of a ghostly nature. So, in keeping with the Halloween theme and the night theme, I thought I'd share another ghost story with you. On the previous story, I talked about a couple of events that happened right about the time that my father passed away. And those events, very easily, I think, could have just been attributed to, the randomness of life. Could have had a buggy stereo or something like that, However, the most insane ghost stories, the thing that happened to me, I'll tell that maybe tomorrow. So for today, just some more, maybe it was ghost, maybe it wasn't ghost kind of stories. So the place of business that I work at, we get a lot of weird things that happen. Now the building's not old, and I don't know that it's built on an old graveyard or anything, but ever since we've been there have been or has been strange occurrences. Simple things like hearing footsteps coming down a hallway only to have nobody there. Or people see figures out of the corners of their eyes. Again, not too weird. Very easy for me to say, oh, it's just a figment of your imagination. However, on 2 separate occasions, I had incidents happen to me that kind of creeped me out. The first one happened early in the morning. A morning not unlike this morning. I was on my way in, clocking in for the day, and I heard this noise come from an area of the building where there shouldn't have been anybody at. And the noise was simply just a rattling of bottles lightly banging together. You know, that king, 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 king sound. So I jokingly said out loud, hey, there's nobody supposed to be over there. And immediately after saying that, it sounded like someone smashed bottles together. Now, could it be that, you know, everything just aligned perfectly at that moment? And bottles came together and gravity, you know, I don't know. But I'll tell you, when you're all by yourself in a building that you've already had strange experiences in, only to have something directly respond in that kind of way, it creeped me out pretty early in the morning, that's for sure. Now, the second thing that happened, I was less of a witness to, but it happened right in front of me, or behind me, I should say. I was standing in an area, just talking with a coworker, and I heard this noise behind me. Basically, the noise kind of sounded like almost like a hissing sound. Like the sound of air leaking out of an air hose. So I didn't react, you know, immediately to it, because we have air hoses and stuff in the building that every once in a while leak, or, you know, but this was really quick. It was just a short burst of air, kind of a sound. So I slowly turn around and look over my shoulder, looking to see if there's an air line that's leaking or something, and don't see anything. And when I look back, the person that I was talking to, they just have these really wide eyes. And the guy, his name was Jonathan, he says, "Dude, that was super creepy." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He said, that lid behind you just slid across the countertop. And I'm like, "What do you mean just slid across the countertop?" He said, "That lid just slid from one side of the counter to the other." So I turn around and I look, and sure enough, there's a lid there, just a lid like you'd have on maybe a mason jar. And, you know, I didn't know where exactly it was beforehand, but Jonathan grabs it and he moves it about 2 feet. And when he does, he drags it across the countertop, and sure enough, it makes that sound, that sound. And the speed that it had to move for it to make that sound was pretty quick. And I can only imagine if you were standing there watching it happen, just suddenly behind someone, how creepy that would have been. But, so those are the 2 creepier stories that happened at my place of business. And again, could they have all been just random happenstance? Could a lid have on its own at that very moment decided to slide from one side of the counter to another? Sure, no doubt. However, it seemed very, very illogical or impossible for that to happen. The clanking of the bottles, man, you could just say it was a big rat crawling across the bottles, and I startled it, and it knocked the bottles. Okay, I would accept that. I couldn't see it. I mean, I didn't watch the bottles hit each other, I just heard them. So yeah, there could have been a rodent. The lid moving, you know, maybe there was a minor earthquake, a tremor of some kind. But didn't feel that, you know, and it certainly creeped out my friend who watched it happen. I was a little creeped out that it happened right behind me. I mean, inches from me. So if there was a ghost, the ghost certainly wasn't shy. However, the story that I'm going to share tomorrow, by far, in my own mind, I cannot explain. I cannot make any kind of sense out of about how it happened, what it was. There's just nothing earthly that I could imagine explains it away. But on that, we'll end this morning's ghost story. I'm sorry these aren't better, you know, having some random skeleton pop out at me or something like that. But I've had several strange things happen throughout my life that weren't necessarily ghostly, but were certainly, I don't know, not normal. I guess I could share a couple of those stories too while we've got these many days until Halloween. Well, so yeah, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you next time.